Ever wondered how your morning cup of coffee is made? Let's start by introducing you to the star of our show, the humble coffee bean. Our story begins in the highland forests of Ethiopia, where wild coffee trees have been growing for centuries. It's here that the first coffee cherries were discovered, and oh, what a discovery it was. Fast forward to today, and coffee is now grown in over 70 countries around the globe. From the volcanic slopes of Costa Rica to the misty mountains of Vietnam, the coffee plant has found a home. The magic, however, all starts with the coffee cherry, a small round fruit that's often mistaken for a berry. Nestled within each ripe red cherry are two seeds, and these seeds, my friends, are the coffee beans we all know and love. But getting from cherry to bean is no small feat. You see, coffee cherries don't all ripen at the same time. Instead, they take their sweet time, ripening at their own pace. This means that coffee farmers must be incredibly patient, often picking cherries by hand to ensure they only harvest the ripest of the bunch. Once picked, the cherries undergo a process called pulping, where the outer flesh is removed to reveal the seeds inside. These seeds are then dried, becoming the green coffee beans that are shipped off to roasters around the world. From tree to cherry to bean, the life of a coffee bean is a year-long journey, a labor of love that's nurtured by the hands of countless farmers. Each bean carries within it the story of its origin, the soil in which it grew, the rains that watered it, and the sun that kissed its leaves. So next time you sip your brew, remember you're enjoying the fruits of a coffee tree's year-long labor. Now that our coffee cherries are ripe and ready, it's time for the harvest. And let me tell you, this isn't just any old fruit picking affair. Oh no, it's a meticulous process that can be done in two ways: stripping and picking. Stripping, contrary to what the name might suggest, doesn't involve any sort of scandalous behavior. Rather, it's a method where all the cherries are removed from the tree in one fell swoop, using a large canvas sheet to catch the falling fruit. It's a bit like shaking presents from a Christmas tree, if you will. On the other hand, picking is a bit more sophisticated, a little more posh. This method involves selectively plucking only the ripest, reddest cherries. Think of it as the cherry version of a beauty pageant, where only the most glamorous fruits get to move on to the next stage. But enough about the harvest. Once we've got our cherries, it's time to get to the heart of the matter, or rather, the seed of the fruit. This is done by removing the flesh of the cherry, a process that's not for the faint of heart. The dry method, also known as sun drying, is the oldest and most traditional technique. It's as simple as it sounds. The cherries are spread out in the sun and left to dry for a few weeks. It's a bit like a cherry beach holiday, if you will. The wet method, on the other hand, involves fermenting the cherries in water to remove the flesh, then washing them clean. It's a bit like a cherry spa day, complete with a fruit facial and all. And there you have it, folks. We've stripped, we've picked, we've sunbathed, and we've spayed. And voila, we have our green coffee beans ready for a makeover. And that, my friends, is the journey from tree to green bean. Our green beans are now ready for the spotlight. It's roasting time. This is where the magic happens, where our humble green beans transform into the dark, aromatic powerhouses we know and love. You may be wondering, how does this transformation take place? Well, allow me to lift the curtain on this captivating process. First, the green beans are placed in a roasting machine. This is no ordinary machine, oh no. This is a beans version of a roller coaster ride, with temperatures reaching a blazing 400 degrees Fahrenheit. As the heat intensifies, the beans begin to change color. This is due to a process known as the Maillard reaction, a chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives browned foods their distinguishing flavor. In this case, it gives our beans their rich, delicious coffee taste. Now, all roasts are not created equal. The length of the roasting process determines the roast level: light, medium, or dark. Light roasts are roasted for the shortest amount of time. They have a light brown color with no oil on the surface. These roasts are generally preferred for milder coffee varieties. Medium roasts, as the name suggests, are roasted for a bit longer. They have a medium brown color and a stronger flavor with a non-oily surface. This is a preferred roast for those who enjoy a more balanced flavor. Dark roasts are roasted the longest until they reach a dark brown or almost black color. The beans are shiny and oily and have a pronounced bitterness. The darker the roast, the less acidity will be in the coffee, which gives it a heavier body. So, you see, roasting is not just a process, it's an art form. It's the bridge that takes our green beans from their raw state to a state of perfection. It's the key to unlocking the flavors and aromas that make coffee the beloved beverage it is. So from a green raw bean to a shiny, flavorful one, our coffee is almost ready for the cup. The beans are roasted and ready, but we're not quite done yet. Next, we need to grind them down. Now, you might be thinking, grind? Why can't we just use them as they are? Well, my friends, grinding is a pivotal step in the coffee-making process as it directly affects the flavor and strength of your cup of joe. Imagine the difference between a lump of sugar and granulated sugar. Both sweet, yes, but the finer the sugar, the faster it dissolves, enhancing the sweetness in your tea. Similarly, the grind size of coffee beans determines how much flavor gets extracted when hot water passes through them. A fine grind allows for a stronger, bolder taste, while a coarse grind results in a lighter, more subtle flavor. Let's dive a little deeper into the world of grind sizes. It's not just a random choice between coarse, medium, or fine. Oh no, it's an art, a science, and a bit of a dance, really. The grind size needs to match your brewing method. A French press, for example, requires a coarse grind, while an espresso machine calls for a fine grind. And somewhere in the middle, you have your drip coffee makers and pour-over methods, which work best with a medium grind. So, there you have it. The humble coffee bean transformed from its green, unassuming state, roasted to perfection, and finally ground to the precise size for your brewing pleasure. Ground to perfection, our coffee is now just a brew away from your cup. Finally, it's time for the magic to happen. It's brewing time. Now, the process of brewing coffee is both an art and a science. It's the moment when we extract the soul of the coffee bean, unlocking the flavors and aromas that have been carefully nurtured from the coffee cherry to the roasted bean. Let's start with the simplest method, the French press, or as the British like to call it, the cafetière. This process is as straightforward as it sounds. Coarsely ground coffee is steeped in hot water, then separated by pressing down a metal filter. The result, a full-bodied coffee with a rich taste. The simplicity of this method allows the natural flavors of the coffee to shine through, making it a favorite among coffee purists. Next, we have the pour-over method, a favorite among coffee aficionados. A pour-over coffee maker is like a mini coffee lab with a cone-shaped dripper and a paper filter. The coffee grounds are placed in the filter, and hot water is poured over them in a slow circular motion. This method gives you control over the brewing time and water temperature, allowing you to extract different flavor profiles from the coffee. Then we have the espresso machine, the Ferrari of coffee makers. This high-pressure brewing method forces hot water through finely ground coffee, extracting a concentrated coffee shot with a distinctive creamer on top. It's the base for many coffeehouse favorites like lattes and cappuccinos. The espresso machine is a testament to the complexity and versatility of coffee, turning brewing into a high-performance art. And let's not forget about cold brew, the cool cousin of the coffee world. Instead of using hot water, this method involves steeping coffee grounds in cold water for an extended period, usually 12 to 24 hours. The result is a smooth, sweet, and highly caffeinated brew that's perfect for those hot summer days. Each brewing method extracts the flavors from the coffee differently, highlighting different aspects of its character. Some methods bring out the coffee's acidity, others its sweetness or bitterness. The choice of method depends on your personal taste and the type of coffee you're using. And there you have it, from a humble cherry on a tree to a steaming cup of liquid gold. Now, isn't that a journey worth savoring every morning?